What's up, guys? Okay, what do you do when your kids are asking for sweets, but you want them to eat something healthier? Guys, I've got an awesome snack recipe to share with your kids. It's got 0 sugar, but it tastes sweet, and we're putting all kinds of great nutrition into it. Guys, my name is Diana Koulian. I'm the recipe hacker and the co-founder of Truly Nutrition, and I'm excited to share this recipe with you. So guys, we are gonna call these protein chocolate clusters. And guys, maybe you've seen recipes like this where you take cereal and you take some nuts and you take some other fun things like pretzels and you mix it all together with melted chocolate. And then you stick them in the fridge so they get nice and they become a little cluster, almost like a little cookie. But most of those recipes, guys, they're full of grains, they're full of gluten, and of course, the one thing that we are trying to get our kids to eat less of, they are so full of sugar. So today I took on the challenge to create a healthy version of this very simple snack that kids love. And so I'm gonna share all of the ways that we made this healthy, but just to let you know, there's no sugar, there are no grains, there's no gluten, and of course, we've added in this muscle-supporting protein powder. Okay, guys, and of course, I couldn't just give you one flavor. I had to give you 2 options. So we have a milk chocolate version, and then we have a white chocolate version. So guys, I wanna jump right into this recipe. It is another very simple one. And again, this is just something that your kids are gonna like. You're gonna give this to your kids or pack it in their lunch for school because school, unbelievably, but school's about to start. And guys, they're gonna think, gosh, I'm getting a sweet, I'm getting a treat, but you know that the nutrition is awesome for them, which is really what matters. Because guys, it's so easy for our kids to just get overwhelmed with the processed foods and the chemicals and all of those sugars, which is what we really want to avoid. And so making healthy snacks like this is the way to do it. You don't have to sacrifice taste, you don't have to sacrifice enjoyment, and you certainly don't have to sacrifice fun. Okay, guys, there's a lot going on here, but we're gonna go step by step as we go through it. And of course, later we'll post a link to the recipes so you can grab that, print it out, and make it with your kids. First things first, I'm heating up 2 skillets. So I have 2 pots because this is really just for melting the chocolate. And what I like to do, it's just a very simple hack so that you never burn chocolate. Burning chocolate is the worst thing, especially when you buy chocolate that is sweetened with stevia. You're gonna pay a little bit more money, guys, because these are healthy ingredients that doesn't have sugar. And so in order to melt this down just in a very simple way, I have a skillet with a little bit of water, and then I put a little pot right into it. So right now these are heating up. I've got it on kind of low heat. I'm gonna crank the heat up just a little bit. And when the water is kind of simmering, that's when you know it's gonna be hot enough in your pot. And there's that layer of protection, so we're not gonna burn the chocolate. So in the meantime, we've got these 2 bowls. We're gonna put all of the dry ingredients into the bowls. So that way, once the chocolate is nice and melted, we're gonna mix it all together to make our little clusters. Okay, so this is fun. I didn't want to put any grains into this treat, and certainly no gluten. And so I found this cereal. It looks just like plain Cheerios, and I actually have a box here so you guys can see. It's called 3 Wishes. And so guys, there's more protein, 0 sugar, and they're gluten-free. So you can find this I found it at Sprouts. So really, you could get it on, I'm sure, Amazon or just your local health grocery store. But really what we're looking for here is the fact that there's 0 sugar. So if your kids do eat grains, you could just use a plain unsweetened Cheerio. It would do the same thing. If you want to take it a step further and completely remove the grains and the gluten, then go ahead and get something like this. Okay, so the first measurement, we're gonna have 4 cups of that unsweetened Cheerio. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in our mixing bowl, and we're making both flavors at the same time because why not, guys? So 4 cups of the crunchy cereal. Again, you can get the really healthy version at your health food store that has no grains, no gluten, or you can just get Cheerios, but make sure you get the plain Cheerios where there's no sugar added, okay? Because this is a anti-sugar snack, although the kids will never know it. Okay, so the next ingredient, so on this side we're doing the chocolate, the milk chocolate one, and then over here on this side we're gonna do the white chocolate. So the next ingredient for the milk chocolate one is gonna be 1 cup of gluten-free pretzel sticks. What's really fun about this recipe, guys, is you can really add in whatever you want. I just kind of came up with a few things that I thought paired well with the milk chocolate, and also a few things that I thought paired well with the white chocolate. So, but really, I mean, have fun with it. Throw in what your kids like. I'm also gonna do a cup of some roasted and salted peanuts. Now, if your kids have peanut allergies or if school doesn't allow nuts, just leave them out. The recipe doesn't need it, but for all of you peanut lovers out there, like for my kids, if I add peanuts or peanut butter to anything, they just love it so much more. So I definitely put peanuts in mine. So those are the dry ingredients on the milk chocolate side, just those 3 things. We had the Cheerios, then we had some peanuts, and then we had some pretzel sticks. So over here on the white chocolate side, we have the 4 cups of the Cheerios, 1 cup of roasted salted mac nuts. For me, the flavor of white chocolate and mac nuts together is just, it's awesome. I love it. And then we have 1/2 cup of dried blueberries. So guys, adds a little pop of color, adds a little bit of sweetness there. Be sure to get blueberries that are they're just dried blueberries, not blueberries where they've put all the sugar into it and then dried them and turned them into a kind of like a candy. So really look for, at your health food store, they should have dried blueberries with no sugar, or if you have a dehydrator, it's really, really simple to throw some blueberries into it and to dehydrate them. Okay guys, so we got our pots are getting nice and warm here. The next step is gonna be to melt down the chocolate. However, this is not normal chocolate. We are using my favorite brand of chocolate, which is Lily's. And guys, I love this brand because they don't put any sugar in their chocolate chips. You wouldn't know it when you taste it, which is what makes it so awesome. So this flavor is a milk chocolate sweetened with stevia. Again, the kids will never know that there's no sugar in it. So we're gonna throw it into the pot on this side with the intention of melting it down. We're also gonna add a tablespoon of coconut oil. Now this coconut oil is important because once we melt this down, mix it up, and we put it in the fridge, the coconut oil is really what binds it together. So it's really gonna make sure that your little clusters stick together. Okay, so on this side, we're gonna do the exact same thing, except for we're using the White Lily's chocolates. Again, no sugar has been added to these chocolate chips. It is stevia and monk fruit, which was exactly what we use in our Truling products to sweeten them without adding grams of sugar. We're gonna add another tablespoon of coconut oil over here with the white chocolate as well. And now we are gonna wait for these to melt down. So guys, when you're melting the white chocolate, it definitely goes faster and it's a little trickier than the milk chocolate, or if you're using like the dark chocolate. So I always just use just a tad bit more coconut oil when I'm melting down white chocolate, and I always watch it a little closer. But using the pan with the water and then put the pot in the pan, creating that barrier between the heat source and your chocolate chips is really the best way to make sure that you don't burn your chocolate's not like sticking to the pan, because yeah, that's the worst thing ever. And when you burn a little bit of the chocolate, it's all gonna taste burnt. So it's not usable. So it's definitely, it is an extra step to pull out the skillet and put a little bit of water in it, but I definitely highly recommend it because it's gonna make sure that you really have perfectly melted chocolate every single time. And guys, I love these snacks for packing this in your kids' lunch. So many kids really do enjoy having like a dessert packed with their lunch. And again, it's just so easy to give our kids sugar because sugar is everywhere, guys. And there's so many like convenient back to school desserts, but just making a big batch of these on the weekend is a simple way to have a sweet for them to put in their lunches throughout the week. But you know it's healthy. Okay, guys, so we are just melting down both pots of chocolate here. And guys, you can make both flavors of these or you can just stick with one, but it really is quite a simple recipe. After we melt down the chocolate, we're gonna mix it with the dry ingredients. And then from there, believe it or not, we are going to add protein powder. And we're gonna mix protein powder into this treat. And it's one of those moments where you look at it and you're like, is that gonna work? But it works, guys, it works. So these little treats, it just looks like melted chocolate that's been, you know, tossed over these fun treats. There's actual protein powder that's mixed into it. Your kids will never know, I promise. But you know that they're getting that protein that they need to help them with their growth and their metabolism and just supporting their muscles. Okay, guys. So our milk chocolate is almost there. And we got our white chocolate over here. I also love this treat because you don't have to turn the oven on, which, you know, right now, even though it's back to school, it is definitely midsummer here in California, and avoiding the oven is always a good thing. Okay, so we have both of our pots of chocolate are ready to go. So guys, we're gonna turn the heat off, and now we're gonna take our pot out of the skillet that had that water. And again, guys, that extra step of just getting that skillet is completely worth it to have perfectly melted chocolate. Okay, so we're gonna get that water there. Okay, guys, so here we go. We've got our dry ingredients for the milk chocolate version right here that we're gonna mix in. Adding the melted Lily's chocolate with the coconut oil. Okay, guys, so we are going to mix all these ingredients together, and we're gonna wait just a minute before we add the protein powder. When you are mixing protein powder into something that's warm or hot, you wanna be careful, and you don't wanna really heat the protein powder very much because it could kind of separate. So always give it a minute. We're gonna mix it. So this isn't like piping hot chocolate. I'm gonna mix that. We're gonna do this side, and then we're gonna come back and do the protein powder. And that's gonna just ensure that it mixes smoothly, it doesn't have any separation, and that it's really undetectable. Because guys, the whole reason that we take so much pride in the flavor of our protein and the ingredients is because we want you to be able to put it into a treat for your kids and for them not to realize that there's any protein powder or that it's even good for them. We want them to feel like it's just a treat. And part of that is it needs to be very, very subtle. So the flavor needs to be good, and it needs to be a subtle part of the dish that's not noticeable. Okay, so guys, we're mixing this white chocolate side over here. And this chocolate melted perfectly. Guys, if you don't want to turn it into clusters, if you would rather have it just like a bag of this, almost like a Chex Mix or something, you certainly could do that, and you could even add more ingredients because you would need less binding if you don't necessarily want it to be in little clusters. But if you're packing it for lunches, I think it is very fun to have it in a little cluster. Okay, perfect. So we're letting that one cool. Now, guys, I have 2 scoops of our Rich Dutch Chocolate Whey protein powder. And again, this is crazy. It doesn't look like it should work, but it does. So we're gonna do it like a scoop at a time. Now we're gonna mix it in to just these fun ingredients here. And actually at this point, if you've ever made Muddy Buddies with Chex Mix, this kind of reminds me of that effect. And I think that I am gonna try to make a sugar-free, protein-rich Muddy Buddy recipe. And guys, let me know if that sounds good to you. I think that's something that we could probably do here. Okay guys, so we're mixing that protein powder in. We definitely want it to be fully incorporated. And since the chocolate is still nice and wet, we're able to really work the protein powder in. And what's awesome is this, the protein powder, the chocolate flavor just enhances the flavor of the chocolate that we already put in this recipe. And since the Lily's chips are sweetened with stevia and monk fruit, just like our protein powder, the flavors really mix well together. Okay, so that's it. This one is completely done and ready. You can see how yummy that is. This would actually be fun to make this recipe with your kids. Okay, so let's mix vanilla protein into the white chocolate. Guys, look how pretty this one is. I'm a sucker for the vanilla flavor. I just think it's so good. Okay, so again, two scoops, and this is the Frosted Vanilla Cake whey protein powder. Guys, I always get people asking me like, hey, that's great, you have your protein line, but do I really have to use Truling protein when I make this treat? And I always tell them, if you want it to taste as good as possible, because I'm telling you, your kids won't detect the protein, you're not gonna realize it's healthy, but that's really just because I can stand behind the flavor and the quality of this protein. So I would say, if you're gonna use another protein powder, like do it at your own risk, but if you really want that, just the best flavor with the highest quality ingredients, then really check out Truling.com and you will see our premium high quality proteins. Okay guys, so this, you can see the vanilla protein is mixing in perfectly, just like the milk chocolate one did. Awesome, oh my gosh. I wanna dig into this, this is looking really good. Okay, so at this point, we have both of our mixtures are totally done, but we want them to, be in little clusters, and we want them to firm up. So what I have here are just some little muffin liners, and we're gonna just take a scoop of each. And guys, make whatever size you want. You know your kids, you know your family. I just really filled a muffin liner, and you don't really have to work on shaping it because it's still wet. You're gonna put these in the fridge and they're gonna stick together. So it doesn't really need to be any particular shape. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. So this is what we're doing, guys. We're just filling these muffin liners with the mixture. We're gonna do it with all of the white chocolate ones as well. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. And then we're gonna throw them in the refrigerator. Guys, it really only takes about 10 minutes for this to go from being nice and moldable and warm to being nice and firm and an actual little cluster treat. Oops, which I just broke. Just like that, guys. So another option, because, for school, is to just put it in little baggies. And this is actually probably easier if you are packing it into their lunches. So you just put the little cluster in a baggie, throw this in their lunch, and guys, you're giving your kids a treat that has no sugar, tastes awesome, and was simple and fun to make. I hope that you and your kids enjoy this recipe for this back to school season. And guys, thank you for watching. If you'd like to make this and you're like, where do I get this protein? It's at Truling.com. Check it out, guys. We have this awesome Frosted Vanilla Cake protein powder. We've got Rich Dutch Chocolate. Then we have a whole line of premium protein powders with strawberries and chocolate peanut butter and cinnamon and all kinds of awesome flavors for you guys to enjoy with your family. Thank you for watching, and I will be back next week with another awesome and healthy recipe. Bye, guys.